Good evening. Today I am going to start a new topic to you, that is elements of vectors. Actually, vectors is a tool for solving physics problems. If you are confident about vectors, it is fun doing problems in physics in majority of the cases. So you have to have a thorough concept over vectors. So here all physical quantities are divided into two categories. They are scalars and vectors. So scalar is a physical quantity which has only magnitude but no direction. So scalar is a physical quantity which has only magnitude but no direction. Only magnitude and it has no direction. So if you look at the examples for scalar quantities, distance is a scalar, speed is a scalar. Suppose if you go from say Vijayawada to Hyderabad, it is around 300 kilometers. So it is irrelevant whether you go from Vijayawada to Hyderabad or Hyderabad to Vijayawada, the distance between the two places is around 300 kilometers, we say. That means we are just talking about the magnitude, we are not at all worried about the direction. So scalar is that kind of physical quantity which has only magnitude but no direction. There are so many examples for scalar quantities: distance, speed, work, power, energy, and so on. So they just have magnitude and they do not have the direction. And now coming to another kind of physical quantities, that is a vector. Vector is a physical quantity which has both magnitude and direction. So it has both magnitude and direction. So vector is a physical quantity which has both magnitude and direction. See here, one example for vector is displacement. Displacement. Suppose if a body moves from the point A to B, that is in eastward direction, if you take the displacement as S, then B to A, it becomes minus S. Meaning, while considering the displacement, we consider both magnitude and direction. I am just telling you the example. Suppose a person moves from the point A to B. So displacement is eastward, say. Suppose if the body moves from the point B to A, then we say the displacement is westwards. Suppose if this distance is 50 meters, in this case, a body moves a distance 50 meters eastwards. So we are mentioning the magnitude as well as the direction. That means its displacement is 50 meters east. So a physical quantity which has both magnitude and direction is a vector quantity. Displacement, velocity, momentum, we represent the momentum with the letter P, and force, angular velocity, angular momentum, torque. There are some examples for a vector quantity. So here a vector has both magnitude and direction. Now a vector is represented by an arrow. Here a vector is represented by an arrow. Length of the arrow represents the magnitude, arrowhead indicates the direction. Length of the arrow represents the magnitude, arrowhead indicates the direction. So this is, we say, vector representation. So a vector is represented by an arrow. Length of the arrow represents the magnitude and arrowhead indicates the direction. Right? That's about about vector quantities. Now let us see different types of vectors we talk about. Types of vectors. Suppose unit vector. Unit vector means vector with magnitude 1. So it is a vector whose magnitude is 1. Unit vector has no unit. I will understand it better when we actually study something about the magnitude and direction of the vector in detail. So here, unit vector is a vector whose magnitude is 1 and it has no unit. It has no unit. And the second one is a null vector. From the word null, you can guess. Its magnitude is 0. Magnitude, for a null vector, magnitude is 0. And direction is undefined. Direction is undefined. And it has unit. It has unit. Let us try to understand what a null vector is. When a body is projected vertically up, as it moves, suppose a body is projected vertically up with a velocity 20 meters per second, as it goes up and up, its velocity decreases and finally becomes 0 at the highest point. This is the maximum height position. At that point, V is equal to 0. So, what is V is 0 meter per second. So, its magnitude is 0 and it has unit. But how about the direction? We are not sure. Suppose if you consider its upward motion, we can say it is in the upward direction. Suppose if you consider its downward motion, its velocity is its direction is downwards. So, for a null vector, magnitude is 0, direction is undefined and it has unit. That is about a null vector. Now, here two vectors are said to be like vectors. The word like refers to the direction. When two vectors are in the same direction, then those two vectors are said to be like vectors. So, what is unlike vectors? If they have unlike vector means they have different directions. These two vectors are unlike. These two vectors are unlike vectors. So, unlike vectors have different directions. Now, equal vectors. Equal refers to the magnitude. Equal refers to the magnitude. Two vectors are said to be equal if they have the same magnitude. Suppose if this is 5 centimeters long, if you draw another vector like this, if its length is also 5 centimeters, then we call them as equal vectors because they have the same magnitude. So, unequal vectors. You can very easily say, suppose one vector has magnitude 5 centimeters and another vector has magnitude 10 centimeters. Those vectors are said to be unequal vectors. Again, coming back, like vectors, same direction. Unlike vectors, different direction. Equal vectors, same magnitude. Unequal vectors, different magnitudes. Next, parallel vectors. Parallel vectors. See here, these two vectors are said to be parallel as they are parallel to one another and angle between parallel vectors is 0 degrees. Here, I am asking you one question. Do all parallel vectors like vectors? Yes or no? Yes, they are equal like vectors. All parallel vectors are like vectors. Okay. Now, anti-parallel vectors. Anti-parallel vectors. Suppose if vectors are in opposite direction, angle between them is 180 degrees. We call those vectors as anti-parallel vectors. So, all anti-parallel vectors are unlike vectors. That is a true statement. All anti-parallel vectors are unlike vectors. That is a true statement. All unlike vectors need not be anti-parallel, because vectors are, if vectors are like this, they are unlike but not anti-parallel. They are unlike but not anti-parallel. So, all unlike vectors are not anti-parallel, but all anti-parallel vectors are unlike vectors, because angle between them is 180 degrees, not 0 degrees. Okay. And next we talk about coplanar vectors. Vectors lying in the same plane. Coplanar vectors. All the vectors lying in the same plane are coplanar. Suppose if we draw number of vectors on this board, all of them are still lying on the same board. Suppose if this is x-axis, this is y-axis, all of them are lying in xy plane. That's why we call them as coplanar vectors. Non-coplanar vectors. So, here suppose one vector is along x-axis, another vector is along y-axis. If the third vector is along z-axis, then very obviously these three vectors, the other vector is along z-axis, I am just representing z-axis like this. Suppose A bar is along x-axis, B bar is along y-axis, C bar is along z-axis. So, very obviously A bar, B bar, C bar are non-coplanar vectors. They are not lying in the same plane. Okay. So, that is about like vectors and so on. Identical vectors. Identical vectors means vector with same magnitude and direction. Same magnitude and direction are called identical vectors. Suppose this is a vector of length 5 centimeters eastwards. This is another vector of length 5 centimeters. This is also eastwards. So, these two vectors have same magnitude and same direction. Hence, they are known as identical vectors. Right? Now, we see the resultant of number of vectors. Resultant of number of vectors. Normally, it is represented as R bar. So, a vector is represented with a bar over its head or with an arrow over its head. Normally, we put a bar over the letter to indicate that it is a vector. Now, we are learning something about resultant of a vector. For example, a resultant is of two vectors is simply written as the vector sum of those two vectors. Resultant of two vectors is the vector sum of those two vectors. Okay. Now, that means if you see the conceptual meaning of resultant, look here. Suppose there is an object here. Suppose if you pull this object with a force of 5 Newton and another person is pulling the same object with a force of 10 Newton, then the total force acting on the body will be equal to 15 Newton. That is the vector sum. There is a difference between vector sum and scalar sum. Just if you add 10 and 5, you will be getting 15, that is scalar. Vector sum means it depends on the direction also. For example, I will give you another example. Suppose the same object is lying here. You are pulling that object with a force of 10 Newton and your friend is pulling the same object with a force of 5 Newton in the opposite direction. Then the net force acting on it will be the difference of these two, that is 5 Newton. So, the magnitude of the resultant of two vectors depends on the direction of the two vectors at which they are applied on the body. So we try to find out the magnitude and direction of the resultant of two vectors in the later topic, that is parallelogram law of vectors. So here resultant is sum of the vectors. Now we can define the resultant of number of vectors like this. Resultant of number of vectors is that vector when applied alone produces the same effect as that produced by all the other vectors together. Meaning, for example, on this object, if these 5 Newton and 10 Newton are applied separately, then they produce some acceleration A, say. Then you remove that 5 Newton and 10 Newton. You apply only force 15 Newton. It produces the same acceleration in the same object. So, this 15 Newton is called the resultant of these two. Now, I am defining the resultant once again. So, resultant of number of vectors is that vector when applied alone produces the same effect as that produced by all the other vectors together. So, that is the resultant. And the next one is equilibrant of number of vectors. Equilibrant of number of vectors. It is the negative vector of the resultant. Negative vector means vector with the same magnitude but its direction is opposite to the given vector. Then we call that as the negative vector. So, see this example, the same example I am considering. You are pulling this object with a force 10 Newton. Your friend is pulling the same object with a force of 5 Newton. So, definitely if you pull this object together, this moves in this direction with some acceleration. Suppose another person comes and applies a force of exactly 15 Newton in the opposite direction, this doesn't move. That will be in the equilibrium state. So, this force when applied along with all the other forces keeps the body in equilibrium is called the equilibrant of these two forces. So, equilibrant is the negative vector of the resultant. The resultant of these two is 15 Newton in this direction, but equilibrant is 15 Newton in the opposite direction. So, equilibrant of number of vectors is that vector which when applied along with all the other vectors keeps the object in equilibrium. So, here suppose resultant of vectors A bar, B bar, C bar is A bar plus B bar plus C bar. Okay. Now, look here. We are going to see something about triangle law of vectors. Triangle law of vectors. So, here first I will explain you the statement and then I will give you the statement just once and you have to recall that on your own. Look here. A point is simultaneously acted upon by two vectors. Let this be A bar, let this be B bar. So, two vectors A bar and B bar are simultaneously acting on the point O. The resultant of A bar and B bar is represented as A bar plus B bar. Now, we see geometrically how we are going to represent the resultant of those two vectors is given by triangle law of vectors. Now, I am telling you the triangle law of vectors. When two vectors A bar, B bar simultaneously acting on a point are represented by the adjacent sides of a triangle, then its closing side taken in the reverse order represents their resultant both in magnitude and direction. Clear? So, when two vectors simultaneously acting on a point are represented by the adjacent sides of a triangle taken in order, then the closing side taken in the reverse order. See, A bar, B bar are in the anti-clockwise direction, but we have drawn R bar in the clockwise direction. So here, when two vectors simultaneously acting on a point are represented by the adjacent sides of a triangle, then the closing side taken in the reverse order represents their resultant both in magnitude and direction. And another statement for the same triangle law of vectors is, when three vectors simultaneously acting on a point keep that point in equilibrium, then they are represented by the adjacent sides of a triangle taken in order. So here the second statement of triangle law of vectors is, when two vectors or when three vectors, say here A bar, B bar, C bar. So when three vectors simultaneously acting on a point keep it in equilibrium, then they are represented by the sides of a triangle taken in order. Then this is represented as, if you start from this point, A bar plus B bar plus C bar is equal to 0. When the body is in equilibrium, resultant acting on it is 0. See here, in the same way, if you write the equation A bar plus B bar, here you have to move in this direction, but R bar is in the opposite direction, 0, or this implies R bar is equal to A bar plus B bar. So that is, they are the two statements of triangle law of vectors. So I am repeating that. When two vectors simultaneously acting on a point are represented by the adjacent sides of a triangle, then its closing side taken in the reverse order represents their resultant both in magnitude and direction. That means the length of this side represents the magnitude of their resultant, and the direction represents the angle made by it with A bar, or arrowhead indicates the direction of the resultant. So that is statement 1. Coming to the second statement, when three vectors simultaneously acting on a point keep it in equilibrium, then those three vectors are represented by the three sides of a triangle taken in order. Then A bar plus B bar plus C bar is equal to 0. Just the extension of triangle law of vectors is polygon law of vectors. So now I am going to tell you something about polygon law of vectors. Here, look here very carefully. Number of vectors are simultaneously acting on a point. Okay, on this point. Then they are represented by the adjacent sides of a polygon like this. This is A bar, B bar, B bar, C bar, C bar, D bar, D bar, E bar, E bar. So A bar, B bar, C bar, D bar, E bar, they are represented like this. A bar, B bar, C bar, D bar, E bar. So when number of vectors simultaneously acting on a point are represented by the sides of a polygon taken in order, then its closing side taken in the reverse order represents their resultant both in magnitude and direction. See here, if you start writing here, A bar plus B bar plus C bar plus D bar plus E bar, all of them, they are in the same direction. Minus R bar is equal to 0. That implies R bar is equal to A bar plus B bar plus C bar plus D bar plus E bar, that is The closing side taken in the reverse order represents their resultant both in magnitude and direction. That is the first statement. And coming to the second statement of polygon law of vectors, when number of vectors simultaneously acting on a point like this, A bar, B bar, C bar, D bar, E bar, F bar are simultaneously acting on the point O, and keep that point in equilibrium. That is the most important word. When number of vectors simultaneously acting on a point keep the point in equilibrium, then they are represented by the sides of a polygon taken in order. See here, this is A bar, B bar, C bar, D bar, E bar, F bar. Then A bar plus B bar plus C bar plus D bar plus E bar plus F bar is equal to 0. Is equal to 0 implies that that body is in equilibrium. So, polygon law of vectors second statement is when number of vectors simultaneously acting on a point keep it in equilibrium, then those vectors are represented by the sides of a polygon taken in order. So, that is about briefly about the vectors, triangle law of vectors, polygon law of vectors. Next, in the next class, I am going to tell you about the parallelogram law of vectors, which is used to find the magnitude and direction of the resultant of two vectors, and also it is used to find the magnitude and direction of the difference of the two vectors. Okay, thank you and bye-bye.